Right, we've changed over the mounting plates on our recoil testing machine here. So we've now got a Remington 700 set up on the machine. Just reiterating that the jig has been levelled, and for more information about the testing machine itself, you can see part 1 of our recoil testing videos. Okay, we're checking recoil energy. And we've got the same mass applied to the machine as what we're using on the 300 Win Mag. What we're going to be testing here is just some sporting brakes, some competitors ones. We've got a Muzzlebrake, a Harrell's, one of our old style Type A generic radial brakes. There's a Holland's radial side baffle brake, one of our own Tresamax brakes, our Quatromax brakes, and the Varimax brake. That's the adjustable one, and we'll be firing that with the ports open and also another 3 shops with the ports closed. And if we've got time, we'll also test a couple of the big heavies as a Sarco TRG muzzle brake, and also our own equivalent, the Megamax brake. And obviously you'll be able to see as a useful comparison test between all of those. What we're going to do obviously initially is we're going to fire 3 or 4 shots as our control, measure the rear wind travel. On this one it's not going to be as much as the 300 Win Mag obviously. You're probably going to be around the sort of 550, 600 millimetre mark. Once again we're going to use factory ammo for our testing. This stuff is Highland 145 grain 7mm Rem Mag, and just so you know there's no tweaking of the loads or anything like that. All of these sporting brakes have been bored to the same clearance, including the competitors ones. They're about 313 to 314 thou, which gives you about 30 thou clearance over bullet diameter, just so it's a fair and equitable comparison test. Fire. Alright. 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 Okay, we test fired all those sporting size muzzle brakes, basically from the vise through to our Varimax. Obviously you'll see on those last shots with the Varimax brake with the ports closed, obviously a lot more rearward travel, but as you can see from the results, still not as much recoil as what you'd get if you had no brake fitted at all. So it's quite a surprising thing with that Varimax is that even with the ports closed, it kind of acts like a mini suppressor and you still get a slight amount of recoil reduction. But the good thing is no point of impact shift. Just out of interest now, we'll fire a couple of our larger size brakes. Obviously there's no point doing a direct comparison, but just so you can see on the same rifle firing the same ammo, the amount of recoil reduction that we can get with these two larger size brakes, and we'll fit them up now. Just mention quickly that because on the Sarco muzzle brake it's an 18mm metric and our test rifle in this case is 9/16 28, we just made and fitted a little thread adapter just so obviously we don't have to change anything on there. And on this particular one of our Megamax brakes, that's 18mm metric as well, but obviously we do whichever thread size that you want. Alright. 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 Okay, right, you can see a useful comparison test there between all those brakes. What we've done, we've added up all the readings taken. As I said, 3 with each brake, averaged out the rearward travel distances for each, and we've actually marked it as on the board here for you just to show you as a comparison. Surprising things to note, sometimes the biggest muzzle brake doesn't always give the most recoil reduction. One of the most outstanding performers here is actually our little Quatromax brake. Even though it's in a standard size, it way outperformed the Sarco TRG brake and all of the other sporting brakes put together. Put this up here just so you can see, obviously where our slider here is stopped is on the control reading. From the best to worst, obviously the most recoil reduction was with the Megamax brake. Next was the Quatromax. About the same was the Varimax brake with the ports open, and also our Tresamax brake. Next in line was the Sarco TRG muzzle brake, and only very slightly improving on that was the Holland's radial baffle brake and the Type A or generic brake, this little one there, which were about the same on this rifle. Next one was the Harrell's brake, as you can see there, and the Vise brake, giving around that 50% mark as they claim. Up here, obviously we've got the reading with the Varimax brake with the ports closed, and this obviously back here is our control reading, average of 4 shots fired without any muzzle brake fitted, and we've gone back and fired another few shots at the end of the test result just to confirm that original average reading. So there you can see, as a useful comparison test, our muzzle brakes versus some competitors' products, and you can see more information on our website, muzzlebrakes.co.nz. Thank you. There. Right, and this shows the muzzle brakes in order of best performance to worst. Here we've got the Megamax, Quatromax, Tresamax and Varimax brakes, obviously with the Varimax tested with the ports open, the Sarco TRG, and followed very closely behind that was the Holland's radial baffle brake and just the generic radial drilled brake, exactly the same results. Next was the Harrell's, and unfortunately at the tail end was the Vise brake.